My name is Ziggy Edwards and I live in the Run. We're here today because Pittsburgh Water, in a very shady way, decided to defund the project that was supposed to happen down here, the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project. And we're gathering here before we go to their monthly board meeting and say some not very nice things to their board of directors. And we're going to try to keep it moving fast because we've got to make it to that board meeting. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my good friend and neighbor, Pastor Mike Hullahan.
Good morning. My name is Mike Hullahan. I'm a board member of the Greenfield Community Association and also a resident of the Run. When my wife and I bought our house here 13 years ago, we didn't know that the neighborhood was subject to dangerous and costly flooding. But it was not long before a storm overwhelmed the system and filled the streets and the basements of homes with rainwater and sewage. And then that kept happening. And we wondered, when is someone going to fix this? For a long time, it seemed like no one was going to, but then the Mon-Oakland Connector project was announced. It was going to privatize Junction Hollow, the park that links Oakland to this neighborhood, to make a private road for self-driving shuttles between Carnegie Mellon University and the Hazelwood Green development. Suddenly, a stormwater mitigation project was on the table that the PWSA would build at the same time as DOME built the Mon-Oakland Connector. Not only would it relieve flooding, but it would improve the area with green infrastructure designs like daylighting the stream that has been buried in pipes for decades. However, residents of the Run were worried about the impact of autonomous shuttles on our neighborhood and reluctant to hand public property to a corporation that does not pay taxes. For years, there were public meetings with DOME and PWSA about these proposals, and we asked, if we don't cooperate with the Mon-Oakland Connector, will you cancel the stormwater project? And for years, both DOME and PWSA insisted publicly that the stormwater project would continue no matter what. Representatives acted like they couldn't believe that we would even ask such a thing. Well, the MOC was canceled, and over the next few years, the stormwater project was whittled down from a comprehensive green infrastructure project to one that just adds more pipes. And now here we are learning that even that is gone. The stormwater project that we have waited decades for has been quietly mothballed along with a handful of other projects, none of which are needed for flood prevention. There was no public meeting about this in our neighborhood. The Greenfield Community Association, which is our registered community org for the Run, was not notified, and even our city council person was not contacted directly. Pittsburgh Water may give this or that reason for canceling this project. They may say it has nothing to do with the Mon-Oakland Connector. But when I step back and look at it, the narrative arc seems pretty clear. We didn't cooperate with a project that developers and nonprofit corporations wanted, and now we aren't getting the flood protection that we need. There is no way this would happen to a wealthier neighborhood. The Wikipedia page for 4 Mile Run, and there is one, look it up, says, for Pittsburghers, it is a place driven over and seldom seen. And that feeling of being overlooked rings true. Over 120,000 vehicles drive over us over this bridge every day. All of the stormwater and sewage from Oakland and Squirrel Hill flow underneath us. And the wealthy people who make things happen don't see us as a vital neighborhood, but as an obstacle to overcome. They don't see what I see, that this is an important place where neighbors are friends and children play, and it is worth protecting. Thank you.
I just want to make a little note to say that what Pastor Mike said is absolutely right. So everybody I'm about to introduce is my friend, as well as, various other relationships. So next up is my friend and I suppose colleague in the trenches in some ways, Annie Quinn, founder of the Mon Water Project.
Yes, Annie. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. We really need your help and we need your attention. My name is Annie Quinn, and I work for the Mon Water Project. I'm the founder and director. I'm also the only employee. Let me start with a question that I want each of you to think about as you hear this story. When it rains, what do you do? Do you go home? Do you get in under a blanket? Do you snuggle up with a good book? We've had a lot of rain recently, and I want you to know that everyone around you and in this neighborhood, they panic. They have their hearts racing. They're looking and preparing for disaster. They're evaluating their homes for what could be destroyed. If you live in the Run, you know that feeling. And I want to call on our beloved Mr. Rogers. I want to say his phrase that we all know so well. Won't you be my neighbor? This phrase runs very deep in the ethos of our city. So here I am calling on you neighbors. Carnegie Mellon University, University of Pittsburgh, the Parkway, PennDOT, UPMC, the doctors, the patients, the university professors, the students, the residents of Squirrel Hill, the residents of Squirrel Hill North, of South, and every business in between. And every single resident of the Hill of Greenfield. We are the problem. It is our toilets, it is our showers, it is our washers, and it is our sinks that join in the forces with rain and cause havoc upon the neighborhood we stand. These are our neighbors. This is an environmental injustice happening right here in our neighborhood. It is the few being directly affected by the many. They are being harmed, and it is a human health emergency. The rivers aren't the only ones that are struggling with the pollution of sewage and poop. This neighborhood has raw sewage flowing into its basements and roads. I need you to think about the residents here in the Run. It's their basements, it's their boilers, it's their appliances, it's their grandma's Christmas ornaments, it's their children living in the floor above. Filling a basement or a road or a neighborhood with liquid sewage is not acceptable. We as the city of Pittsburgh must protect our neighbors. We must demand solutions. And after 10 years and $8.7 million spent, no physical solution has been installed. That is a waste of your fees too, neighbors. Oakland, Squirrel Hill, and all the way to the north side. Your dollars were spent and not a single physical solution has been installed. $8.7 million is a lot of money. I wish there was a solution that had been guaranteed and installed in the Run. I call on PWSA, now Pittsburgh Water, to reinstate the funding for construction, not only for the gray infrastructure project that was the last piece, but the full project to protect our neighbors in the Run. Thank you.
Next up, we have Dana Provenzano, owner and operator of Zano's Pub, which is right up that way. Hey.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dana Provenzano, and I own and operate Zano's Pub House, which is right up the street right there. I've owned this building and this business for almost 12 years now. And over the past 12 years, I've watched several floods happen. There have been several prior to me, and the stories I hear are horrendous. The stories I tell are horrendous. They affect not only our neighbors, our businesses, our families, our friends, they affect our whole community. Whenever floods happens in the Run, it's not just rainwater, it's sewage. I have to close my doors. I have to close my business. I have to close my livelihood to support my family because the PWSA decides they don't need to fix the problem. They think it's okay. They don't realize how much money I lose. I can't open my doors again until I decide, or the public health department decides that it's okay for me to open my doors again. I have to fix my basement that was flooded with not just water, but sewage. I have to fix the problem. I have to make sure it's safe and sanitary again to serve food to not only my clients, my customers, my neighbors, my friends, but my family also. I have to make sure that what I'm giving the public, my neighbors, my friends, is safe to give them. No one compensates me for the money I lose when the flood happens. When I decide to walk out my door when the flooding's happening because I see things floating in the streets and blocking the drains, and I'm in waders digging things out of the drains so the water can go down the drains. The PWSA isn't here doing that. I am. Our neighbors are. All of us are. We stand beside each other. We make sure things are okay, not the PWSA. I call upon them and say, if it was your business, if it was your family, if it was your friends, or if it was your livelihood, would you stand and say, I will reallocate this money to somewhere else? Or would you be fighting the same way the rest of us are fighting? The rest of my neighbors, my friends, my family are standing beside each other fighting, saying this is not okay. We deserve better, and we know we should have better. Thank you so much.
Next up is another of my neighbors, Cynthia Serado.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Cynthia Serado. I live with my husband and 2 boys, ages 13 and 8, between Saline Street and 4 Mile Run Road. When we talk about flooding in my neighborhood, we're not just talking about a little water in the basement. We are talking about life-threatening flash floods that blow off manhole covers and fill the street behind and in front of our homes with sewer water in just a matter of moments. The entrance to the run, where my children wait for their bus, right over here. Every morning, and get dropped off every afternoon, becomes a lake of sewage water, rising as high as the roof of a car. Emergency vehicles are not able to reach the neighborhood, and we are trapped with no way out, often driving through the parkway here just to try to get out. Every time we get a heavy rain, my heart freezes, wondering if this is going to be another big one. Another terrible flood in the run that damages our home, leaves sewage on our sidewalks and in our yards, and threatens our lives. For more than a decade, PWSA has been promising to fix the flooding in the run. I hope it doesn't think that rebranding itself to Pittsburgh Water absolves it of that promise. I understand the solution to our flooding problem is not easy, but doing nothing is not an option. We demand that Pittsburgh Water return the money to our stormwater project and fix the flooding in 4 Mile Run once and for all. Thank you.
And I just want to add to that some people I've heard over the years say, well, you guys should just move. You just shouldn't be here. I mean, think about how that would be if somebody said to you, well, if you're having problems with where you live, you just shouldn't live there anymore. Keep in mind that some of our elders were here first. These houses and this community was here before the Parkway was here. We were here before all the pipes coming down from Oakland and Squirrel Hill and Greenfield, before it started developing so rapidly. So just keep that in mind too. And last but certainly not least is my friend, neighbor, and my city council representative, Barb Warwick.
Good morning. My name's Barb Warwick. I am the Pittsburgh City Council representative for District 5 and a resident here in 4 Mile Run. For such a small, tucked away community, the run is actually pretty well known here in Pittsburgh. It's also called the Russian Run. It was the settling place for Russo-Slavic immigrants from the Carpathian Mountains. St. John's down the street was Andy Warhol's church. And there's big gyms right here behind us. And of course, there is the flooding. For 20 plus years, heavy rains have meant basements filled with storm and sewer water, foundations damaged, boilers needing replaced over and over again. In the streets, manhole covers are blown into the air, cars are submerged, and the area we are standing in right now, where our kids get the bus to and from school, becomes a lake of sewage, blocking the only entrance and exit to the neighborhood. Residents in the run have been begging for a solution to their flood problem for decades. So in 2015, when the city announced plans to spend millions of dollars on a private shuttle road through the neighborhood, the Mon Oakland Connector, to serve the new development next door, they were furious that their public dollars were being used to serve special interests, but not to fix their flood problem. A problem that if it were happening in Shadyside or Squirrel Hill or Point Breeze would have been solved long, long ago. The solution that city leaders and PWSA came up with at the time was to promise flood mitigation, but to tie the project to that road, essentially holding the flood relief for the run hostage. But in meeting after meeting, PWSA denied that theory. No, we don't care about that road, they said. We're just here to help you with your flooding. It makes no difference to us what happens with the Mon Oakland Connector. We promise we're doing this flood project no matter what. Well, over the next 6 years, Run residents fought to stop the Mon Oakland Connector. And in February of 2022, they won. Later that year, I was elected to city council. And then lo and behold, that same November, before I was even sworn in, I get a call from PWSA. There's some issues with the flood project, problems with the designs, the railroad, the utilities. We need to scale back. We need to take out the green infrastructure and just do the pipes. Just be a little more patient. We're still doing the project. Construction will begin in 2025. I stood up in front of my neighbors with PWSA CEO Will Pickering, and I said, don't worry, guys, they're going to fix it. I promise. Then, at the end of 2024, PWSA, now Pittsburgh Water, cut the project out of the capital budget, moving the money elsewhere. No notice, no calls, no public discussion. Pittsburgh Water broke its promise, just like everyone in the run said they were going to do. Well, since then, Mr. Pickering has reached out. We're working to find an alternative. We'll do a study to see if the M29 outfall fix the problem. Maybe we can do something smaller. Maybe we can link up with the Alcosan Clean Water Project. Maybe PennDOT can help. But here's the problem with all those maybes. You can't do any of them without that funding. And that is why we are here today. We are demanding that Pittsburgh Water move the funding back to the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project. Starting now, I want a monthly report on the work being done to get this project completed and this flood problem solved once and for all. And if I don't get it, you can expect to see me and my neighbors at every Pittsburgh Water Board meeting from here on out. Also, some good news. I hear from my neighbors that our former councilman is as outraged about this situation as we are. So we are all very excited when he becomes mayor to see him out here standing and fighting with us. Because here's the thing that you have to remember. No matter how long it takes, the run will not back down. Thank you.
Okay, so our next stop is the headquarters of Pittsburgh Water. We're going to their board meeting, which starts at 10 o'clock, so hope you guys can join us there. Have a great day.
Move the funding back. 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 Move the funding back! Move the funding back! Move the funding back! Move the funding back!